good evening and welcome back to Meydan Racecourse. I'm your host, Shamila Hanley. We are live on Yes Sports TV and you are watching Race to the World Cup. Today we are going to get through two fantastic Group 1s on the turf. We've been talking a lot about the dirt races, but there are a lot of superstars on the turf and I cannot wait to preview them with you. Those opening reports give me absolute goosebumps because there is a lot to look forward to on Saturday. And it's not just me here in the studio either. I'm joined by Maddie Playle from the Racing Post. I'm so glad to have you on, Maddie. I've been wanting to work with you for a number of years and finally we sit together in the same studio.
Yes, an amazing studio. Look at this backdrop, it's absolutely stunning. Was at Meydan this morning, back here this evening. Can't wait for Saturday. It's such a spectacular card. The two turf races that we're going to talk about in particular, that's my speciality. So I'm glad you've got me on to talk about those two and can't wait to see some of the best horses in the world.
No, exactly right. And as you said, we're sitting in one of the largest grandstands in the world, but it's not your first Dubai World Cup, is it?
No. I was here in 2013 when Ushba Tesoro won the Dubai World Cup. It was a fabulous meeting. Of course, we had Equinox winning the Shima Classic, Lord North racking up yet another win in the Dubai turf. So I'm used to seeing something special when I come to Meydan.
Absolutely right. And there are two special turf races that we're going to preview for you. Let's take a look of what to expect with our show today.
Romantic Warrior. Can he reign supreme again? In the Dubai turf, Romantic Warrior looks poised for another dominant performance, especially after defeating Japan's superstar, Liberty Island. However, he must first deal with defending champion Factor Cheval, who shocked the world last year with his sensational upset victory. Can he do it again? Chasing back-to-back wins in the Dubai Shima Classic, it's Rebels Romance. Rebels Romance enters in peak form, aiming to retain his crown in the Dubai Shima Classic after a whirlwind year of top-class victories across Europe, America and Qatar. However, a major threat looms in the form of Aga Khan's flag bearer, Kalangadan, who tested Europe's top juvenile city of Troy and now returns to his preferred distance.
I cannot wait to get through those two races, but I feel a bit special, Maddie. We've had a few flyovers behind us here while they're practicing for World Cup night.
I'm not sure if they've put it on to distract us or to complement the view, but yeah, it's certainly spectacular.
And I think that we should get through our runners and riders of the first race that we're going to get through. It's race number 7, the Group 1 Dubai Turf. This is sponsored by Longines. No, it's sponsored by DP World, and it is over 1,800 meters with a prize pot of $5 million US. Horse number 1 is Factor Cheval for Maxime Guillon. Horse number 2, Ghostwriter from the UK for Clive Cox and Rossa Ryan. Horse number 3 is Gaumont, a horse from Bahrain. Horse number 4 is Holloway Boy for Daniel Tudhope and Carl Burke. Horse number 5 is Maljoum for William Haggis and Tom Marquand. Horse number 6 is Misho Tabaru from Japan. Horse number 7 is Nation's Pride, one for Godolphin, William Buick and Charlie Appleby. Horse number 8 is the horse that we all are looking forward to seeing once again back at Meydan Racecourse, Romantic Warrior. James McDonald will take the ride for Danny Shum. Horse number 9 is Soul Rush. Christian DeMero will take that ride. Horse number 10 is Brie Weg. And horse number 11 is Liberty Island, a horse that I'm particularly looking forward to. And we had the gate draw just yesterday, so the Group 1 races were decided which gates. And any first thoughts on that, Maddie?
I don't have any concerns from Romantic Warrior in 9. I think the shape of this race, there's not too much pace in there. The Japanese horse may show Tabaru. I think he's probably a possible to go forward, as well as Nation's Pride. Romantic Warrior, can see them sitting handy enough from their draws. Liberty Island, perhaps not ideal where she is. Soul Rush, I really fancied this horse, but I'm a little bit concerned that there's not quite enough pace in the race for him, and a draw in 2 is probably not ideal either, consider he goes back. But yeah, ultimately, I think Romantic Warrior is going to get a great position here.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was just saying to some of my other colleagues that there wasn't a lot of complaints at the stalls position draw, and there usually is, but the trainers seem quite happy.
They do, and I think when you're talking about these top-class races and top-class horses, you know, it's impossible to predict exactly what's going to happen, and often horses can overcome what are considered to be poor draws anyway. But in terms of Romantic Warrior, he's such a straightforward, versatile horse. We've seen him multiple times in his homeland defy difficult situations, whether that's a wide draw, being trapped out wide, having too much pace, not enough pace. He just seems to win every time.
Exactly. And speaking of Romantic Warrior, I got to speak to his trainer, Danny Shum, the other morning by the track.
It feels good. Actually, I arrived, I come back, actually, I can say. I come back yesterday morning to the stable, see him. He's still a happy, sound horse. And he do the gallop this morning. He's doing good. The world rider, Gary, he report he's pretty sound. Yeah. Saudi, he used a lot of energy. It's a heartbreak race, but it's a good race anyway. He come back. He feel a little bit, a little bit stiff, 1 or 2 days, and then he can finish fit, and he's back to normal now. Yeah. Jabba Hutt, the field cannot compare with the Dubai Turf. The Dubai Turf is a much stronger field, especially the Japanese horses. They aim at the Dubai Turf as well. Yeah. He been here 17 December. He been already here, so he get used to here, and he pretty easy horse, and he love Dubai. Yes.
I love talking to Danny Shum the other morning. He was very kind in giving us a lot of information on Romantic Warrior. Maddie, you've been to Hong Kong a good few times. You must be well acquainted with Romantic Warrior by now.
Yeah, he's just an exceptional horse, Shamila. You know, whether it's QE2 Cups, Cox Plates, here in Dubai winning the Group 1 Jebel Hatta, he can go anywhere in the world. You know, the Zudikinen in Japan, he's just an exceptional athlete. And as I mentioned before, adaptable. He can change depending on conditions. And we saw that once again last time, of course, when he finished second in the Saudi Cup on the dirt. Just a real spectacular athlete.
Exactly. And we can see him here in the Jebel Hatta. Now, unfortunately, Measure Time didn't make it to the finish line, but I think Romantic Warrior would have won anyway. He's so dominant on the turf. I mean, his second in the Saudi Cup, it wasn't on his surface. And he still nearly beat Forever Young, who's the favourite now for the Dubai World Cup.
Yeah, James McDonald rides this horse with so much confidence. He has such an excellent relationship with him, and he went very wide into the final bend, probably trying to avoid that kickback because the horse isn't used to it. And then looked as if he had the race won, to be honest, in the closing stages. But Forever Young was just absolutely relentless down the outside of the track and won close home. There was a lot of talk about the tactics of that race and whether James McDonald committed just that little bit too soon. I'm not sure. I think maybe Forever Young could have overhauled him either way, but nevertheless, it was a gargantuan effort on, as you say, a surface that he's unproven, but clearly likes.
Exactly. He is on the older side of these horses. He is 7. Do you think that he could go for another season in the form that he's in at the moment?
Absolutely. I mean, there's no reason to suggest that he won't. I must admit, one of my concerns about him for this race was whether that Saudi Cup had left a mark. It was an incredibly grueling race. It wasn't too long ago, and he hasn't faced competition in the heat of the desert like that before. He usually tends to skate through his races quite easily. I wonder if, whether you're a believer in this theory or not, whether maybe a horse swooping by him and defeating him has also maybe brought about a little bit of lack of confidence. But yeah, I think ultimately he's likely to get a good pace set up. I think he's set to get an ideal position from his barrier. And I think he should be very tough to beat, especially if he can bring his A game, and perhaps even if he's a little bit below, to be honest.
And here on the replay, we can just see Nation's Pride winning the Singspiel Stakes and Holloway Boy coming second. Nation's Pride is a very interesting horse for me in this race. I think it's a perfect distance for him. He has a lot of stamps in his passport: Bahrain, the US, Canada, Germany, and he's been having a good time traveling around as well.
Yeah, 4 times a Group 1 winner, and actually flew out to Canada to see him win the Canadian International a couple of years ago. So that was a special experience. He was third to Lord North in this race back in 2023. He's a really admirable horse, and I think, again, like Romantic Warrior, both of those are going to be advantaged by the way this race plays out, in that I don't think there'll be a red-hot pace. They can sit close on it, and it may be the disadvantage to the likes of Liberty Island, Soul Rush coming from further back, because they're probably going to be against a pace bias here, I think.
Absolutely right. And what did you think of Holloway Boy's performance coming second? Do you think that he could come on from that?
I think potentially he can improve. He's really enjoyed himself out here this carnival, hasn't he? He's been running some huge races in group races. We know he's got the talent from when he was a 2-year-old, when he won that Chesham Stakes. But I think ultimately he's going to be found wanting right at the end of the race.
I totally agree with you there. And another horse that I'm really looking forward to is horse number 1, Factor Cheval, the 6-year-old from France, who will be ridden by Maxime Guillon. He is a bit of a warrior. He came first in the 2024 Dubai Turf, so this race last year. And his trainer does seem pretty confident with his abilities.
Yeah, he had an exceptional year last year, running in all the good races in Britain, in the Sussex Stakes, the QE2 in particular. He put in some excellent performances. My concern with him this time around is he's coming off a dirt prep. He ran in the Al Maktoum Challenge and the Saudi Cup. I'm not sure whether he is as effective on the dirt surface as he is on the turf. And similarly to Romantic Warrior, I wonder if those efforts may have taken a little bit more out of him. He was a long-priced winner last year, so we shouldn't underestimate him. But I do think he's probably got more on his plate this time around.
And we have a UK runner as well, Ghostwriter, who was third in York behind City of Troy and Kalangadan. He steps down a trip.
Yes, he's a very talented horse, and his record is interesting. Probably doesn't tell you the whole story because he hasn't won in a while, but he's produced some excellent efforts in top company, including in the Juddmonte International at York and indeed in the Coral Eclipse. I think we're yet to see the best from him. He could be capable of a good performance, but once again, I wonder whether he could now be ready for this sort of test, but I'm not sure he'll perhaps be good enough to win on this occasion.
Yeah, I think so. That was just the 2024 Dubai Turf when Factor Cheval came out on top. And I got to speak to his trainer yesterday morning, Jerome Rayner. Let's see what he had to say.
We're very happy with him. He looks good. He's behaving well. Obviously, that's a very different prep than last year when he came straight for Europe after 5 months off. He has a busy campaign this year with the Maktoum Challenge and the Saudi Cup. Now he's back on turf, and no, we're quite happy with the way he looks and the way he trains, so we're quite hopeful to be competitive once again.
Was that your plan at the beginning of the season, to try him on the dirt as well?
Yeah, he was meant to go to California for the Breeders' Cup last year, but we changed our plan and kept him in Europe for the Queen Elizabeth and finished second behind Sharin. And yeah, the plan was to send him all winter long here in Dubai and try the dirt. And obviously in the Maktoum Challenge, he ran a really good race. And in the Saudi Cup, there was a different story. That was a very tough race with a lot of pace. And we're happy to see him back on turf on Saturday.
And what are you expecting of him on Saturday on the turf? Do you think it's a tough field?
Yeah, obviously there's a few big champions like Romantic Warrior and Liberty Island, and even Soul Rush has got some good form. So it's going to be a very, very competitive race, and less runners than last year. Last year there was a 16 runners field, but we got lucky to have the draw 8. So I hope we'll be able to be in the middle this year once again to get a good run. And Maxime knows the horse perfectly well, and I mean, yeah, he's getting older every year, but he seems to be still a young boy.
He seems to be still in his prime, as you said. What are your plans going forward with him in the future after Dubai World Cup night?
But as I say, he's had a busy campaign during the winter, so once he's back at home, he'll have a few weeks off, and we will see if he can be ready for Royal Ascot, maybe for the Queen Anne or the Prince of Wales, but there's no rush with him. the Sussex. He's been running really well in the Sussex during the summer. He was second to Paddington and third last year. So we can be aiming once again to try to win a Group 1 in Europe. That's the main target of the year, and we will see.
Best of luck to Team Valor in that race. Any final words of wisdom on the Dubai Turf, Maddie?
It'll be interesting to see how Malzoom runs. Like Ghost Rider, I think he's a horse who hasn't had the smoothest of careers, perhaps, but is going to produce a better performance one of these days. He's not always had his ideal conditions, and I think he's very interesting for William Haggas for sure, who's had an excellent time of things of late, of course, winning another Group 1 with Dubai Honour in the Tancred Stakes down in Sydney.
Absolutely right. And here is another race replay. Yeah, it's just great. Yeah, it's Factor Cheval again, just winning last year's Dubai Turf. Tough battle again. And he does seem like the type of horse who likes to chase. He likes to have a bit of a challenge. So hopefully in the closing stages, we get another tight finish.
Absolutely. It's great when you have competitive Group 1 races like this. And ultimately, there's fans as racing supporters. That's exactly what we want to see.
Now we are going to take you through the runners and riders of race number 8. It is the Group 1 Longines Dubai Shima Classic over 2,410 on the turf with a prize pot of $6 million. Horse number 1 from Bahrain for Fauzi Nas is Caliph. Horse number 2, Dureza for Japan. Horse number 3 is Giavaletto, a horse that I'm really looking forward to seeing on the day. Horse number 4, Rebels Romance. Horse number 5, Kalangadan, who is the highest rated in this race at 125. Horse number 6, Dandan Decile. Horse number 7 is Dear a Mile for Owen Burrows and Tom Marquand. Horse number 8 is Shin Emperor. And horse number 9 is Saravina. Only 9 horses in this field for the Dubai Shima Classic. And here you can just see the gate draws as well. Rebels Romance in number 4.
Perfect. I think William Buick will be absolutely delighted with that. This horse who made much of the running in a dominant win last year. He's going to have a very straightforward test from that draw, I'd suggest. I'd be slightly worried about the gate in stall 2 for Kalandagan. He's a horse who likes to be held up and come with a late run. He wouldn't want to be getting trapped on the inside and face traffic problems like he did in the Champion Stakes.
Absolutely right. And speaking of Rebels Romance, he won the 2024 Shima Classic. Hopefully we can give you a replay on that just now. And much like Factor Cheval, I mean, do you think he's going to come on from this run? There's not many bad things you can say about Rebels Romance. He's 7 years old. He won 3 times on the bounce, the Emir Trophy, the Breeders' Cup Turf, a Group 1 in Cologne. I mean, there's just no stopping this horse. No,
he's relentless, and as last year, I think he's going to get the perfect setup. I don't think there's that much pace pressure on the front end. I'd expect William Buick to be nice and positive, as we've seen he is. He had a lovely prep last time out. Could he become the first back-to-back winner, the first dual winner of the Shima Classic? Hard to believe that it's never been done. But this is just a really exceptional horse, and one that William, I spoke to him earlier at Track Work, said that he's built a real relationship with. As you say, Shamila, 7 years old. It's not often these flat horses stay around for as long as he has. Won the UAE Derby here, of course, went to America, has won Group 1s all over the world. It'll be a privilege to see him in action.
He has more stamps in his passport than the regular person. And my colleague Kareem got to speak to William Buick this morning by the track.
Yeah, I feel good. I rode Rattle and Roll this morning, and he feels in good form. So, yeah, I'm very excited about it.
I will start talking about Rebels Romance. He's the title winner last year of Shima Classic. How it was the preparation, and how do you see the horse?
Yeah, he's had a good preparation. He won the race in Qatar recently, like he won last year before the Shima Classic. He's in good form. He shipped over well, and everyone seems very happy with him. So, you know, we're obviously hugely excited every time he runs, and you know, this time is no different.
This year, don't you think that his opponent are more tough than last year?
Yeah, I think it's a tough race. I agree. I mean, it was a tough race last year on paper, and you know, it's the same again this year. So, you know, we never take anything for granted, and the Shima Classic is always a very good race. So, you know, we know Rebels Romance is super consistent. He always turns up. He always does his best, and you know, the team have produced him beautifully again, and you know, we're always excited when he runs.
He'll ride also Nation's Pride, and he will be in front of the big Romantic Warrior. How do you see this battle?
Yeah, it's exciting, of course. Look, Romantic Warrior he's a champion. It's gonna be hard to beat him. Nation's Pride is a solid horse. He's a really tough, consistent horse, and we look forward to him running as well. It's going to be tough for him to take on a horse like Romantic Warrior, but it's a horse race, and we have to try.
Rattle and Roll, coming from Saudi Arabia, and Rattle and Roll is going to be one of the contender also as an American horse and Saudi horse to compete in this Dubai World Cup.
Yes, he ran very well in the Saudi Cup where he was fifth. Look, he's a good ride to pick up, and look, obviously you have Forever Young in the Dubai World Cup who won the Saudi Cup now, so it's a tough race, as you always expect, but I'm looking forward to it.
With the experience you have, how do you see the Dubai World Cup, the big event on the 25th, on the next Saturday?
Oh, like always, it's a very competitive race. You have horses from Dubai, America, Japan. You have horses from all over the world. And the best horses. So it's never an easy race. To be honest with you, it's nice to be in the race on a horse with a chance. Just really hope that we can perform our best.
Do you see that Forever Young, he has maybe more chances in that race?
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, I think so. I mean, he's a very good horse. Obviously, winning the Saudi Cup most recently when he beat Romantic Warrior. So. He's a horse everybody will be looking at, but I do think it's a deep field behind him, and Rattle and Roll, I think he will improve for another furlong. The Saudi Cup is 9 furlongs, the Dubai World Cup is 10 furlongs, so hopefully that will bring out some improvement in him.
Always great to hear from Godolphin jockey William Buick. He seemed in great form this morning, and thankfully we got a word on all of his rides, and he mentioned Nation's Pride, who he's looking forward to riding as well. We're going to go straight into Shin Emperor, who won the Saudi Neom Turf Cup. Very impressive race, wasn't it, Maddie?
It was, yeah, and interesting that he went from the front here and more or less made all. We know this horse is very talented. He finished 5th in the Japanese 2000 Guineas, 3rd in the Japan Derby. Some international followers will know that he finished 3rd in the Irish Champion Stakes, 12th in the Arc. I don't think those were his conditions. He's never bound to be seen in his best light there. An excellent 2nd in the Japan Cup to deduce. And then this was his effort last time. I do think he perhaps got a little bit of an easy time in front here, and he may have been flattered slightly by the winning margin. But nevertheless, it was an excellent effort with some really creditable contenders in behind.
Exactly, and he has a fantastic jockey booking as well, the stable jockey for Yoshito Yahagi. And I mean, I feel like you can't underestimate any of Mr. Yahagi's runners that he brings over here.
No, definitely not. And this horse is still developing. I think he's going to improve with age. It's quite deceptive because he's got quite a high head carriage. I don't think he's ungenuine at all. He can look slightly awkward in the finish at certain points, but I think he's bound to be peaking this season.
Now, horse number 7 is Dear a Mile for Owen Burrows and Tom Marquand. 6th last time in Saudi in the Red Sea Turf for Ahmed Al Sheikh. Probably wasn't his run, but could improve in this?
I think he could improve. He's still a young horse who has potential at this level, but ultimately on what we've seen him do so far, including when he ran in the Epsom Derby last year, he needs to improve.
And unfortunately, we couldn't get a word from Owen Burrows. I couldn't find him this morning at Breakfast with the Stars. There were so many people. It was almost overwhelming. But another horse that I'd really like is Servina, which is another Japanese contender. Goes against all the boys, and she won 2 Group 1 fillies races in Japan.
Yeah, she's a really exciting talent, Servinia. She has a unique running style in that she comes from the back. I don't think some of the races she's run in recently have been run to suit, but she is a Japanese Oaks and Shukusho winner, so we have to take her very seriously. Ninth in the Kyoto Kinen, though, not sure what happened there, but she'll need to be back at her best. This is a really exceptional Dubai Shima Classic.
And I think we should speak about horse number 3, Gia Valeto, as well. Won the Hong Kong Vase, which is a Group 1, 5th in the Dubai Gold Cup last year, but has since improved.
Yes, that Hong Kong Vase was a really standout effort for him. And interesting that he seems to be getting quicker with age. He's won 2 Yorkshire Cups over 1 mile and 6 furlongs. But as you say, that Hong Kong race was over 1.5 miles. And he did not look like a stayer in that race there. He showed an exceptional turn of foot under Oisin Murphy. It was a wonderfully inspired ride. And we saw a new side to Gia Valeto there. I think he's going to be one of the principal dangers to Rebels Romance on Saturday. I think he's going to run a really big race.
Do you think that it could be an issue that he's drawn on the outside?
Not really. He tends to go back in his races. He's relaxing more with age. We used to see him at track work mornings awash in sweat, and he'd be very on his toes. But he seems to have grown out of that with age. And I think given the position that he's likely to have, a wide draw shouldn't be a concern.
Well, I was lucky enough to speak to the trainer of Servinia, the only filly in the race. Let's see what he had to say.
Every day, a little bit, condition is better than the better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
After traveling, it's hard for them to come from Japan to here?
Yeah. At first, she's very nervous at first, but day by day, she's comfortable to environment here. Yeah, I think.
Are you excited to be back in Dubai? Obviously, you had Equinox here.
Yeah. I'm very happy to. I'm very lucky for trainer. Yeah. 2003, I got the title for Dubai Shima Classic. It's very wonderful time for me, and this time is very happy too. Yeah.
Well, Christophe Lemaire takes the ride on her, and she could run a huge race on Saturday. I would love to see her beating all the boys. Any final thoughts on this race? Obviously, Kalangadan, Rebels Romance, Gia Valeto, there's so many star horses in this.
There is. I think we need to give Kalandagan another mention. An exceptional year last year. Gelding was really the making of him. Won the King Edward VII at Royal Ascot in scintillating style, and then performed really admirably in 2 of the world's best races. Second in the Juddmonte International to City of Troy, and then enjoyed a luckless passage in the Champion Stakes at Ascot behind Anmat. He could find things a bit hairy again on Saturday with that inside draw, particularly if they don't go a strong pace. But I think he's a really fantastic horse, and he's got a real good turn of foot for a middle distance horse. So looking forward to seeing whether he can defy a few things on Saturday.
And I love to see the Aga Khan colours out here, and they usually do pretty well, and they're serious contenders when they do bring them out here.
Yeah, for whatever reason, the Aga Khan horses just seem to thrive, don't they? I remember Vazirabad running in the Dubai Gold Cup for years, and he was a real favourite of mine, and fantastic to see another one on these shores.
Well, that was the previews of the 2 Group 1 races coming on the turf to you on Saturday. Let's have a look at our predictions for those races and the Dubai World Cup as well. We've both gone for Romantic Warrior. I've gone for Factor Cheval. You have Soul Rush, Romantic Rebels Romance, Kalangadan, Gia Valeto, and Rebels Romance for you, and Forever Young for both of us. But I've gone the way of Wilson Tesoro for my second choice, and you have Imperial Emperor. So what do you make of the Dubai World Cup race itself?
It's fascinating. I think if he can produce his best, Forever Young could just outclass his rivals. He's such a spectacular horse. It's been great to see him in the mornings. That's why I love coming to different countries like this, because you really get an insight into what these horses are truly like. And he's a superstar. He knows it. He will stand there, look at the cameras and say, yeah, that's me, I'm here. If that race, the Saudi Cup last time, didn't take too much out of him, and I don't think it would have done, to be honest, then I think he's just got too much class for his rivals here. I am interested in Rattle and Roll, who was a very eye-catching 5th that day. I wouldn't be surprised if he could reverse the form with the likes of Ushba Tesoro, who was 2nd in that race. I think that's a horse for Kenny McPeak that is peaking and going to produce an excellent performance. Imperial Emperor, he's been the real improver of this season, of course, in Dubai. But I just think they're going to have too much to do against Forever Young.
It is absolutely all eyes on Forever Young. And Maddie, thank you so much for joining me. It's been an absolute pleasure to go through the two races with you tonight.
Thank you so much for having me. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Really can't wait to see how our selections get on.
And very best of luck to everyone in those two Group 1 turf races. But it is all eyes on Forever Young. And please join me tomorrow night when I will be joined by Carlos Morales, who will take you through the main one, the Dubai World Cup. Thank you and good night.